course. For sure, we all grown. Time limits will be strictly enforced. All right, y'all, with that, let's go on and hop in, and we're going to begin with our Texas House District 101. I want to make sure, Billy, you ready to go with that clock, sir? 2 minutes. Damon, did we know who goes first? Did you decide on who goes first when we do this? All right. Junior, you want to go first, sir? If so, the 2 minutes are yours, sir.
Just so I understand, 2 minutes for opening statement?
Yes, sir.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Well, good evening, everyone. I want to make sure I thank the NAACP Arlington chapter for organizing such a great forum, allowing us to come here today to exchange ideas, tell you a little bit about ourselves, and answer any questions that you have. And I also want to thank Chris Turner, our current state representative, for his leadership, all that he's done for our district over the course of the last 14 years. We're very grateful, sir. Good evening, everyone. My name is Junior Izanu. I currently serve on the City Council in Grand Prairie as the Mayor Pro Tem, but I'm running for State Representative. And several people have asked me over time, why, Junior, why are you running for State Representative and why now? And I tell them, look at our nation, look at our states, look at our community. Our country is moving in the wrong direction. Our state has moved in the wrong direction, and we have a crisis of leadership from the top to the bottom. And unfortunately, there's a lot of Americans that agree and Texans that agree with Democratic policies and Democratic programs and our ideas, but we're struggling to win those voters back. The politics of 2026 and what we're seeing, it's vastly different than it was back in 2012 or 2008. We were facing a new fight with the other side of the aisle. We're facing a new battle, a new war, I'd say, with the people on the other side of the aisle, and it's no longer politics as usual or as things has been in the past. And I think in this moment, we need change across the board. We need bold leaders. We need leaders that are ready to fight for our interests, to fight for our values. And through that change in leadership, we can deliver on different policies like raising the minimum wage here in Texas, creating affordable home ownership, not just affordable housing, but making home ownership affordable where everybody, if you work hard and you contribute to this society, you can benefit. Looking at our public schools, properly funding them, repealing that private school voucher law, and making sure that every Texan has affordable health care as well. These are several issues that I'm about, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, sir. Sir, Rep. Turner.
Thank you, Dr. Shelton. Good evening, everybody. It is great to be with you, and I want to thank the Arlington branch of the NAACP for providing this opportunity for your members, but also for the public to hear from candidates running in the Democratic primary here coming up on March 3rd. I also want to thank Councilman Izanu for joining me on stage tonight so we can discuss issues important to District 101. It's been my privilege to represent House District 101. And I think the job of a state representative representing Southeast Tarrant County is twofold. One is to go to Austin and fight Greg Abbott and Kim Paxton and these MAGA Republicans on all the terrible things that they are trying to do to our state, whether it's harming our public schools, diminishing our voting rights, our representation, or taking away health care from our constituents. It's also the job of the state representative to get things done for our district. And that's why I have worked hard to, one, be an accessible state representative, holding town hall meetings, meeting with constituents on a year-round basis, and delivering real results for our community here, whether that's millions of dollars in funding for UT Arlington, whether it's funding for key parks in our area, transportation and pedestrian safety improvements. All those things are important. They don't make the headlines necessarily, but they matter to the people here in Southeast Tarrant County. It's also important to be engaged with the community, and I'm so thankful and appreciative to the Arlington branch of the NAACP for our longstanding partnership over the years. We have worked together to sign people up for the Affordable Care Act. We have worked together to deliver COVID vaccines to people here in our neighborhood. And we have worked together to name State Highway 360 in honor of the great Rosa Parks. And we have done a lot of work that is meaningful for our community, including just 3 weeks ago, doing a food drive to benefit people in need here in Arlington and Grand Prairie. So I look forward to many more years of partnership. Thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you very much. All right, let's get to it, y'all. Very good. Let's get to our first question. and that is that many school boards across our state have urged lawmakers to oppose private school vouchers and fully fund public schools. What is your position on state voucher programs, and how would you ensure a high-quality public education for all students across the state? Yep. Yes, 1 minute to answer this question. Since you went, yes, sir. Chris, why don't you go first, sir?
Thank you, and I appreciate the question. I strongly oppose private school vouchers. I helped lead the fight against vouchers in the Texas House. We defeated vouchers every single session until this very last session because our governor and Donald Trump teamed up and browbeat Republican lawmakers to finally pass that bill. We have got to repeal the private school voucher law. The initial allocation for vouchers is $1 billion for this biennium, for the first 2 years of the voucher program. It is capped at $1 billion, but my expectation is if we do not repeal it, Republicans are going to try to remove that cap, and it will become a spiraling cost that comes at the shortchanging of our public schools and other key priorities in our state. The fact is that more than 90% of Texas kids go to public schools. Public dollars belong in public schools, period. We need to increase public education funding. We need to increase the state share of public education funding so that all kids get the very best education possible in our public schools.
Thank you very much. Junior?
Could you repeat the question?
Yes. What is your position on state voucher programs, and how would you ensure a high-quality public education for all students?
Personally, I'm vehemently against the private school voucher scam, which is what it is. It's not a program that benefits our residents. It hurts us. And I have a personal experience with our public school system here in Southeast Tarrant County. I went to Arlington ISD schools. I went to Bryan Elementary, Barnett Junior High, Bowie High School. My third grade teacher, Miss Ali Shulman, raise your hand. She's here. Because of leaders, because of educators like them, I'm able to be the man I am today, so I'm vehemently against it. And here's the thing about private school vouchers that they don't always tell you. In the states that have the voucher program, like Arizona, Michigan, other states, 85% of the subsidies, that's what it is, it goes to families that already had their kids in private schools. It's not school choice. It doesn't benefit low-income families because the average private school costs more than $10,000 a year. So we need to repeal the private school voucher bill and fully fund our public schools and pay our teachers more. Our teachers deserve higher pay, more benefits, and we need more support for our educators. Because of people like Ms. Shulman, I'm here today. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. All right, our next question, affordable housing and cost of living. House District 101 is a young, family-heavy community grappling with long commutes and rising housing costs. What state policies would you pursue to make housing more affordable and ease cost of living pressures on working families? I'm going to let either of you fellows who wants to go first. Junior, you raised your hand. Go for it, sir.
Thank you, sir. This is an excellent question. As someone that recently bought a home 2 years ago, it's very difficult, and the property taxes are hurting you, and the housing prices are out, they're insane. But when I talk to residents in House District 101, a lot of folks are renting, a lot of folks are ready to start a family, or ready to buy a home and plant roots in our community, but are unable to. I don't know if you guys know, but the average age in 2025, and we don't have the 2026 numbers yet, for a first-time home buyer is 40 years old. 20 years ago, it was 31 years of age. This is because we have these private equity firms, large corporations that are coming in and buying up all our single-family homes, turning them into rental properties, reducing the amount of homes on the housing supply, the housing stock, raising the price because we have high demand below supply. We have to ban that, number one. And number two, create a subsidized mortgage program through the state government where we give people that qualify lower interest loans. So let's say the rate is going at 6%, the state could step in and pay 2% of it and bring it down to 4% so folks can afford the monthly mortgages. The monthly mortgages are what really kill a lot of people and prevent them from buying homes.
Chris?
The cost of everything is too high right now, and that includes housing, and I hear it everywhere I go. It used to be commonly said that Texas had low housing costs relative to the rest of the country. That is less and less true really since the pandemic over the last several years. So we have to do several things. One, property taxes are too high. I don't think anyone disagrees with that statement. I don't think that's a really radical thing to say. Texas, for all its reputation as a low-tax state that all the Republicans like to brag about, the reality is we have very high property taxes relative to other states around the country. And the fairest way to reduce our property tax burden is to increase the homestead exemption. More than half of our property tax bills is paid to our school districts. It's tied to public education funding. And Republicans will say, well, that's your local school districts assessing that taxes. That's not true. That is a result of the state school finance formula. So what has to happen is the state needs to increase its share of public education funding to drive down pressure on local school district property taxes. I've supported legislation to do exactly that, and I've also supported legislation to increase the homestead exemption, which is now $140,000. It was $15,000 10 years ago.
All right, very good. Next question here is related to voting access. In 2021, Texas enacted State Bill 1 imposing new voting rules that disproportionately impact voters of color, e.g. bans on 24-hour and drive-through voting. What steps would you take in the legislature to protect voting access and ensure that all eligible voters in your district can cast a ballot freely and fairly? Whoever wants to go first.
I guess we're taking turns, so I guess I'll take this one next. Thank you for the question. This one is deeply personal to me. The right to vote is sacred and fundamental to our democracy. And people have bled and died and sacrificed so much for the franchise to be truly expanded to every eligible citizen in this country. Yet we have lawmakers, Republicans, in Austin and elsewhere around the country who are determined to roll back those voting rights. And in 2021, I remember that bill well. I was chair of the House Democratic Caucus at that time, and I led a 35-day quorum break to deny the Republicans the opportunity to pass that bill. Not that we knew that we could stop it forever, but we wanted to raise the stakes in Washington, D.C., and put pressure on the U.S. Congress to pass a new Voting Rights Act. And the U.S. House did pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act as a result of us going up there. We couldn't get it past the Senate filibuster. We have to repeal that law. We have to have same-day voter registration, online voter registration, and knock down these barriers to the ballot box.
Yeah, this is a very important question. 3 pillars for me when it comes to expanding voter access and expanding voter rights. Number one, Texas needs to join many other states across this nation by expanding mail-in balloting to all Texans, regardless if you're 65 and up, regardless if you're disabled. We have to create automatic voter registration once you turn 18 years old. There's so many people, 18, 19, 20, 21, that don't have the right to vote because it's a cumbersome process where you have to go on the website, on the state website. You have to print out the form and you have to mail it in. It's a very long process. We just need to streamline it, make it easy. You turn 18, you have the right to vote. Simple. And in counties like Tarrant County, the state has to create a policy where there's oversight of the county's elections office to make sure they're not, one, reducing the amount of early voting locations, two, reducing the amount of election day locations, as Judge Tim O'Hare has done here in Tarrant County. At one point, you could vote at the UTA campus. You can no longer do that for early voting. They try to take away our TCC Southeast campus, and we got to stop them. And if I'm elected, that's what I'm going to do. Thank you.
Very good. Our last full question before we go to your closing statements. And of course, as a nerdy professor, we're going to talk about curriculum. State leaders have moved to restrict discussions of race and diversity in education, from banning diversity offices at public universities to leading the nation in book bans, school book bans. How would you promote a truthful, inclusive education for our students and push back against efforts to censor curricula or materials that reflect our diverse history and culture? Whoever wants to go first. Junior, you grab the mic. Go, sir.
We're rotating. I wanted to be fair, like Chris said. But this is an excellent question, and it's very important. In Texas, our public schools are under attack, not just in regards to funding, but also in regards to what they're allowing students to learn in the classroom. We have leaders in Austin and in Washington too, but especially in Austin, that think they are the teachers. No, you are an elected official that is there to provide funding and support for the educators, for the librarians, to be able to provide these resources to the students. So what we have to do, if I'm elected, something that I will push for, and something that Chris has done a good job on, is bringing the teachers, bringing the educators to the table, allowing them to have input over what is being discussed in the classrooms, allowing the parents as well to have input over what some of their students learn. It takes all of us, because public education has to be protected, but we want our students to have a well-rounded experience, to learn about Black history, to learn about Hispanic history, to learn about sex ed. All of this is important for a young man and a young woman to develop into who they need to be our future leaders here in Texas and nationally as well.
Yeah, the Republicans' attacks on academic freedom and trying to control every aspect of what is taught and what cannot be taught in our public schools, K through 12, and yes, in higher education, is reprehensible. And we have to repeal a number of laws, frankly, and we need to elect more Democrats to the legislature to be able to have the votes to do this. But we need to repeal last session's SB 12, which was a so-called DEI ban in K through 12. These guys don't even know what DEI stands for or what it is. But the reality is that legislation has severely limited teachers' and counselors' ability to help students who need help, is severely limited the ability of students to just have social clubs on their school campus. In higher education, the DEI ban that passed 3 years ago has been incredibly harmful to our college campuses in terms of student support services, and now the Republicans are moving into attacking curriculum and telling teachers what they can and cannot teach. It has to stop. I'm proud to have the endorsement in this campaign of the Texas State Teachers Association and the American Federation of Teachers. I'm going to continue to work with our educators to repeal these laws.
Very good. So we'll now move to the closing portion of your discussion. And Junior, you led us off, so Chris, I think you should lead us off now with the closing. You have 1 minute, sir, and the time is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Shelton. Thank you again for hosting this evening. It is my honor to represent House District 101 in the Texas House of Representatives, and I want to continue doing that work, continue fighting these terrible policies we've been discussing today, taking on Greg Abbott and Ken Paxton. There's a reason Ken Paxton is in the Texas Supreme Court trying to remove me from office right now, because I've stood up to him and I've stood up to Greg Abbott, whether it's on voting rights, whether it's taking on Tim O'Hare and his crazy plan at the appraisal district that is shortchanging our public schools. I've taken them on and I have won in many of those cases. So I want to continue that work, but I also want to be able to continue to get results for our district and for the people of Texas, whether that's securing funding and bringing it back here to Southeast Tarrant County, whether it's identifying injustices like a blatant racially discriminatory housing policy that an HOA was doing in North Texas, where I passed a law to ban that practice. I want to continue that work and use that effectiveness to deliver real results for the people of District 101 and the state of Texas. Thank you very much.
Good to go?
Yes, sir.
Well, Arlington chapter of the NAACP, thank you so much for the opportunity to join you all this evening. And thank you to everyone that's come out to hear our opinions and our ideas and how we want to improve our community and our states. And what I want to leave you all is this. I've been very blessed to grow up in this community, to go from Bryan Elementary, Barnett Junior High, Bowie, and then graduate from UT Arlington, MAVUP. And this community has given me so many blessings to serve as a city council member at the age of 22. And it would be just an honor to represent our community in Austin, to fight for our community, to fight for my neighbors, to fight for my educators, to fight for my coaches, to fight for the people that poured into me and to allow me to become the young man that I am now at 26 years old. And I see the movement and the way that our country and our state is moving, and it's disappointing. But I believe that our better days are ahead, that brighter days are possible, but it comes through change. And our nation has changed in the wrong direction, and it's time that we move it back, move the pendulum in the other direction to create a world where our children, our grandchildren have an opportunity to thrive, survive, and make it to the next level. And I thank you all again. God bless you. Thank you.
Hey, y'all, let's clap it up for our candidates for House District 101. Wonderful. All right, with that, now we will move on to our candidates for Tarrant County Commissioner Precinct 2. And we're going to start ladies first. Amanda, you're going to get us going. And then we'll go with Gabe and Jared. All right. Are we ready here for our 2 minutes for the opening for Amanda? And the floor is yours, ma'am.
Yes. Thank you for having me today, and thank you, Dr. Sheldon, for moderating. I want to take a minute because I've been reflecting on Black History Month and especially the women in this particular precinct. And I want to give rise to the late Dionne Bagsby, who was the first woman commissioner for Tarrant County, and also our former commissioner, Devin Allen, who's first woman in Precinct 2. Commissioner Allen and I made history together because she saw there was a missing voice on the JPS Hospital Board, which was a Latina voice of a county for 64, that had 64% of Latinos within that hospital. And so I became her first appointment and also the first Latina, and then the first Latina vice chair of the board. And that becomes really important. Representation really matters. I'm in this race because this district was highly gerrymandered. Even this church was Precinct 2 before. You are now Precinct 1. And so that makes a huge difference in seeing. But we got to remember, for our Republican counterparts, they thought that this precinct would stay Republican. However, they didn't know I existed. I grew up in the new part of Precinct 2 and know the communities there. I've been working in those communities, as well as I live in Arlington the last 13 years and been working and building community through Hispanic Women's Network of Texas, Arlington chapter, where we're very inclusive and bringing everybody else along with us. And so these are some of the reasons why it's important for us to be able to work together and to make things happen. Thank you, Commissioner Simmons, for Commissioner Allen, for all the work that you've done. And I'm looking forward to continuing this fight with Commissioner Simmons, because I also stayed on the board through Commissioner Simmons, and making sure that we keep this precinct a woman voice as well as a Democratic voice. And I look forward to working with you all.
All right. Let's go with Gabe next, and then Jared last.
All right. Is this on?
Are we on?
There we go. All good? Good evening, everybody. Again, my name is Gabe Rivas. I'm so happy to be here tonight with my home chapter of NAACP. I think I was at that last meeting here at the church before COVID hit. So I'm glad we can all meet back in person for this candidates forum. A bit a little about myself. I've spent all day at Commissioner's Court today, so we have a lot of issues we were dealing with, so kind of getting focused on my history. I was born and raised here in Arlington, so that makes me a 37-year resident of Precinct 2. And my career has been that of connecting with the community, and it's more specifically connecting the community with the resources and needs of they have where it comes to their government and their representation. So I've done, voter registration in East Arlington with Southwest Voter Registration Education Project. I've done organizing of candidates and campaigns with my political consulting firm that I own and operate here in Arlington. And for the last several years, I've worked in the county as Director of Community Outreach for current Commissioner Lisa Simmons. And I'm running because I want to continue the work that I've done my professional career, the work that I've done of making sure that people's voices are amplified, people's voices are heard, and that people know where and how they can interact with their government to make their community, their lives, their families thrive. We have a lot that Tarrant County has to offer, and I personally believe that government has a place to make lives better for the residents. And so far, that is not what we're seeing in our Tarrant County. Our Tarrant County is one that views the needs and voices of its residents as that of an inconvenience. Today at Commissioner's Court, like I said, we were spending most of today there. They voted to not only have only one meeting a month, which you already had, but reduce public comment instead of 3 minutes per item that you wanted to speak on to 3 minutes total for each meeting. And that's just another endemic representation of how this current failed leadership, the Republican 3-2 court, is in representing the people's voices. And so I want to be part of this change that we want to have coming into Tarrant County, the change of making sure that the people are represented. Thank you so much.
Good. Dr. Jared, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Shelton, and to the Arlington NAACP, and also giving honor to God and the pastor and congregation here. And thank you for sharing space with me tonight. My name is Jared Williams, and I'm the son of two public school teachers. My dad also a pastor here in Precinct 2, and my mom and dad both worked their way through school while raising me and my older brother. My mom did that while working at UTA and going to UTA, and they taught me a whole bunch, not only as public school teachers and faith leaders in our community, but also as active members of NAACP and civil rights organizers here in Tarrant County, advocating for racial justice in our schools alongside great leaders, many of which you may know, including Dr. Michael Bell. I stand before you in a time where folks like you and me, working class folks, are working harder and harder for less and less, while politicians in power, particularly here in Tarrant County, couldn't care less. And as a father, as a husband, my daughter goes to Primrose right off of Matlock. I think a lot about the Tarrant County that we're gonna leave our kids. And as my parents did for me, and many of you, your parents did for you, we have an obligation to leave Tarrant County and leave our kids' future better than our parents did for us, to move the torch forward. And so that's why I'm running. I have served our community a long time as Vice President of External Affairs at the Tarrant Area Food Bank, serving 13 counties, also serving in a number of other capacities in the community. I'm assistant pastor at South Fort Worth Baptist Fellowship, as well as I served as a two-term council member in the city of Fort Worth. And we're working to lower the cost of living. We're working to ensure that every neighbor, including you, has access to excellent county services. And lastly, making sure that we stand up for our fundamental rights.
All right, everybody, let's clap it up for everybody's opening statements. Now you have 1 minute to reply to these questions, and we'll just go, and whoever wants to go first, just sort of grab the mic and get busy. First question here is related to jail oversight. More than 65 people have died in Tarrant County Jail since jail custody since 2017, prompting calls for federal civil rights investigations. As a commissioner, what actions would you take to improve conditions and oversight at the county jail and to ensure inmates receive safe and humane treatment with accountability for any misconduct? Looks like Gabe. Go, sir.
I'll go ahead and start this one off. We're actually getting closer to almost 80 jail deaths now in the Tarrant County Jail since 2017, when Sheriff Wayburn first took office. Most of these deaths are from gross negligence. That has come from the incompetence of the leadership we currently are showing, and that goes to reflect also on the Commissioner's Court as the budgetary oversight of the Sheriff's Department. I mean, there are more people in the jail that we need to have. There's, of course, violent criminals need to be held in jail, but most of the people in our jail are not only awaiting trial, but are also there where they need to be getting health care provided to them, where they need to be getting mental health provided to them. We need to have a better intake process so that people that coming in that need to be seen by JPS clinicians or by mental health clinicians aren't being seen only by the correctional officers in the jail, who are having too much responsibility put on them when they're already stretched thin in their capacity, where they're not able to provide the kind of care that needed. Our people in our jail, they're in our custody, that makes us their custodians.
Anybody want to go next? Dr. Williams?
Yes, sir. Thank you. First of all, more than 76 people have died in the care of the county jails, and that's not okay. And the first thing we need to do is remember and honor the lives that were taken by tangible action and supporting their families and settling those cases to make sure their families have what they need. As a city council member, I was on the forefront of ensuring that a Tatiana Jefferson's family received justice. We made sure that little Zion never had to worry about a thing. I was the one who led in advocating that his college fund be taken care of and that we set up a trust to make sure that he had what he needs. Same with Jackie Craig, and we will continue to do it for 76 families who've been impacted by negligence. The other thing is we need to invest in better solutions to promote diversion, mental health services, but even beyond that, I think we need to invest in things that are ensuring that we're not focused on punitive, but also restoration. So when we look at early child care and the fact that folks don't have child care, that is a way to reduce populations in our jails. And so it's hard to answer that question in 1 minute. It's a big system, but we really need to take a hard look at how to end the carceral system as we know it, because it's harmed Black and brown communities in particular.
Amanda, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Yeah, we can all agree what's happening at the county jail right now is completely unacceptable. My stance in the purview of what a county commissioner can do, because the sheriff has, since he's an elected independent body, has control over day-to-day operations. What we can do is look at budget and approve budget. Make sure that the things that are happening are within the budgetary system. I am for independent oversight. I am for continuing diversion programs because we know that diversion programs continue to work. Tarrant County Commissioners Court decided to stop funding diversion programs in September 2025. We have to reinstate those particular programs. Also, the main thing that we need to rally around is, if we want to see change, is we have to get out to the voting box when it's time for Sheriff Wayborn to be reelected. Amalek. So that's going to be the main push, because he does have control of those day-to-day operations. We'll fight to make sure that metrics and accountability are continuing through the county jail.
Thank you. Our next question is related to voting access. Recently, the Commissioners Court majority voted to cut over 100 polling places, reducing Tarrant County's voting sites from 331 to 216, and nearly halving the early voting locations to 13. What will you do to ensure convenient voting access for all voters in Precinct 2 and to build trust that our county's elections are fair and accessible to every community? Jared, you holding the mic like you're ready to go.
Ready to go. That's a great question. Thank you. First things first is we have to recognize that the politicians in power are manipulating the voting process to their own advantage, to our detriment. And so we need to make sure that we advocate for fair elections, and that includes expanding access to the polls. That means expanding access and making it easier to register to vote. That means expanding the early voting hours. It's hard to pick up my baby from school, from childcare, and get to the polls at 5 p.m., which is the majority of the voting hours. And so we need to expand voting locations, expand voting hours. And this is not just an idea for me. This is something that I did when serving on city council. We made sure that every neighbor had access to a voting location near their neighborhood, especially those that have historically been impacted by voter suppression.
Amanda or Gabe?
I think we're doing round robin. Thank you. That's a great question. So as a adjunct professor at University of Texas, Arlington, go Mavs, making sure that our young have opportunities to vote. Reinstating our campus voting locations are really, really important. Also, as an election judge, previously in most of the major elections the last several years, making sure that our equipment is working viably all the time. There are so many times we've had different opportunities with equipment, but making sure that they are there and accessible and available. Expanding hours, as Jared mentioned. We are working people. Being able to be there and have opportunity to vote is a God-given, is a constitutional right. We have that. We have to have our voices heard. Also making sure that, ensuring that we have education on the available options at the county. Did y'all know high school students can sign up and get paid to be able to work the polls and the election offices? So making sure that those opportunities are available and out there.
Well, working with the elections department was under my purview, working with the county. And in 2024's election, they eliminated every polling location at college campuses. It took the young people at UTA, the Divine Nine fraternities and sororities, the Young Democrat chapters, to fight to get those reinstated, both speaking at court, having rallies on campus, and having their voice heard. It shouldn't be that hard to have people have access to the right to vote. The right being taken away, the right of their polling locations, is deliberate. I mean, we saw this last November for the special elections that happened on November the 4th. There were no polling locations within the 820 loop in Tarrant County. That's where Black and brown communities vote. So anyone who runs for office and who's afraid of the voice and the vote of the people should not be running for office and should not be serving there. So I will always fight for making sure that we have places to vote where you can vote, and also that we have the proper outreach, the proactive outreach to our communities to make sure they know where they can vote, how to register.
Very good. All right, so let's move on to economic development. And Precinct 2 contains both booming suburbs and historically underserved neighborhoods. How would you promote equitable economic development, such as attracting good jobs, improving infrastructure, and or ensuring county contracts include minority-owned businesses? How would you do this so that all parts of Southeast Tarrant County share in the prosperity?
Yes, thank you for the question. That's a great question. So I've done a lot of work in this area, and especially on JPS board, and ensuring that sole contracts or MWBE contractors have opportunity to know what the RFPs are that are coming up, and also to provide those educational opportunities and mentorship opportunities. There are some large contractors out there that can work with smaller agencies to be able to share a bond. That's where a lot of the barriers are for our smaller businesses, is being able to be bonded and licensed. And so we have to be able to create those additional mentorship programs to see that growth come through. Also, enjoying knowing that we have the eyes of the world on us right now, especially with FIFA coming and all the other attractions. So we have to be able to expand out those opportunities. It's going to be education. It's going to be talking to the small business community because they're our backbone and working through, and also employing individuals. So we have to make sure there's opportunities for growth, employment, and MWB contracting.
Abe?
Well, this is another place where proactive outreach is going to matter, because there's so many more opportunities that the county needs to give to its minority women-owned businesses. Our department that is grossly lacking, because most of the time it ends up sending a letter to the Chambers of Commerce and checks that box. Outreach to minority women-owned business needs to be more than checking a box. It needs to be bringing our community in. We need to have a focus on not only including what's federally required, but also making sure that, I mean, these are the people of our community. These are our residents of Tarrant County, and having that outreach and including them in the bids and procurement process is doing business in Tarrant County with Tarrant County. Bringing commercial development, economic development into Tarrant County is also going to be a great way to reduce property tax burden on the homeowner. If we have more high-paying jobs as well as property tax shared with commercial businesses and in economic development, that is going to go a long way to reducing the burden that the taxpayers have when they pay their home taxes. Thank you.
Very good, sir. Dr. Williams?
Yeah, thank you. Economic development is absolutely vital, particularly to the communities that we all care about and are from. When I served on city council, I brought $2 billion in private investment into the city of Fort Worth and Tarrant County, including bringing forward grocery stores, Central Market, H-E-B, Target. We're boycotting Target now, so that's not even, it's a moot point. And lastly, BJ's Wholesale. Not only did we bring that much, we also ensured that we were making sure that private developers paid for infrastructure. The other thing I will say is we also need to invest in CDFI, community development finance institutions, to help ensure that our businesses, particularly our black and brown businesses and women-owned businesses, have access to capital. We also need to protect MBE. That's the whole reason why this DEI thing came up. Governments play a huge role in contracts. We need to partner with our cities. We also need to expand the land trust that I help lead in Fort Worth to expand housing development and also home ownership opportunities, and as well as address cost of living and improve wages for workers, including raising the minimum wage in Tarrant County to $38 an hour. All of that is economic development and more.
All righty. Our last question before we get to the closing statements. This question relates to transportation. Public transportation options in our area are limited. For instance, Arlington relies on a ride-share program instead of buses. and many neighborhoods have no transit at all. Lack of transportation can isolate lower-income residents. How would you advocate for better transportation connectivity throughout, whether it's through DART, Trinity Metro, or other initiatives to help residents without cars reach jobs, schools, and health care in Tarrant County? Gabe, I see you ready to go, sir.
Yes, I mean, what you just mentioned in the question is the integral part here, is that transportation isn't just about getting from one place to another, where it goes to going to school and going to work. It also has to do with so much other interconnectedness, whether it's getting to your doctor, getting to a better paying job than just the job that's down the street. We need to not only act like we're a bigger city than we are here in Arlington, and act like we're a county of 2.2 million people and not an isolated small county. But Tarrant County also needs to realize that we are in an interconnected metroplex. Any kind of conversation going forward about transportation needs to include a regional perspective. There's a big role for commissioners to play when it comes to the Council of Governments and the interconnectedness of working with Trinity Metro and DART, and I think working as a regional answer to our transportation solutions is going to make a big difference. The things we have here in Arlington, the VIA, that's great for the last mile, but we need to be able to connect to our region.
I would add to that, as a city, state, and country, we're behind. When you travel all around the world, public transit is not a debate, and it's a shame that it's a debate in this country. Transit is a right, and we need to make sure that we are investing as a county in partnership with our cities, with our regional council of governments in the state, to make sure that we have all forms of transit, not just ride share, but also making sure that we have rail, both commuter rail and high-speed rail, regional rail. We also need to invest in being innovative. The transit options of yesterday don't have to be the transit options of tomorrow, and so being creative about that as well. The other thing I would say in the conversation of connectivity and workforce development is that broadband and internet should be a human right. In this digital age, connectivity and getting to a job doesn't mean you have to get in a vehicle. Having access to internet, especially in our rural parts of the precinct, in southeast Tarrant County and southwest Tarrant County, making sure that the county is partnering with local cities as well as other sectors to make sure we bring in digital infrastructure and high-speed internet so that no one has to go without internet in this digital age.
Great, thank you. I think we also, I agree with a lot of the comments that have been made. I think we also need to look at walkability studies. How are people working, living, and playing in their communities, and what does that mean for them? We have to think regionally when it comes to transportation and what's already on the table. There are a lot of really amazing transportation opportunities, including medical transportation. JPS utilizes Uber Health, so if you need a ride to your doctor and or from the hospital, then you can also use that ride share to go pick up your prescriptions and or go to the grocery store. How are we utilizing all of these opportunities? My sister uses HandyTran because she's in-stage renal. Sometimes also we have to have cultural competency of the transportation drivers, of making sure that they know that these people are sick and don't ask them to walk very far. So we have to have regional studies, but also have a regional plan that is going to work for the people of Tarrant County and work for the communities of Tarrant County.
All righty, y'all. So now we will move into the closing arguments. I want to say, Amanda, you led us off, and then Gabe, and then Jared. But Jared, now you're going to lead us off, sir, and then it'll be Gabe. And now, Amanda, you're going to finish us off, all right?
Is this a 1 minute or a 2 minute?
This is a 1 minute close.
Oh, Lord, y'all know I'm a pastor. That's hard. That don't count as my time, please. Well, it's been an honor to share space with you all. This election is important, and we're seeking your nomination because we have a big challenge ahead in the general with Tony Tinderholt. I've had experience flipping a seat. I'm one of the youngest council members to ever serve in Tarrant County, and with your support, we'll continue to deliver. I'm proud to have the support of our Commissioner, Elisa Simmons, as well as Commissioner Miles, Commissioner Roy Brooks, Rep. Nicole Collier, Rep. Ramon Romero, Labor Union, Texas Progressive Caucus, and so many others because of our working class priorities. We're going to reform property tax appraisal system. We should be charged, or we should pay taxes based on what we bought our home for, not based on what the government thinks our house may be worth. We need universal child care and fair wages. We need to make sure that we are ensuring you and your family has access to excellent public health care. Public health care is affordable health care. And we need to protect the right to vote and our voice at the Commissioner's Court. All of our fundamental rights have been eroded. We have an opportunity to win the majority, and particularly to have a black-brown majority on the county commissioner's court for the first time in the history of this county. And together we can do that. With your vote and with you organizing our community, we can deliver. And so I hope during your vote, God bless y'all.
Thank you again so much, NAACP, for having this forum tonight. Having an educated voter is going to be what makes a difference in our democracy. And that's what this cycle is going to be about, is making a difference in our democracy, because there's been too much eroded, too much pushback on the natural progression of our society. We need to be able to represent the people in our government. And there's just too much going on that is not being seen by government as their job. Not only have I said that in my career that I've worked with, worked in the current commissioner's office, worked in my community, but I've also spent the last several years as the vice chair of our county party and working in field campaigns for candidates. So when it comes to looking for what we need in this as our nomination, it needs to be someone that's going to be able to do the work, not only to get people out to vote, earn people's votes, but make sure we keep this seat. Because they redistricted this seat last summer because they are scared of the voters voting them out. And we're going to show them that we're going to keep this seat. Thank you.
Can I get my time start over? Thank you. Thank you so much. It's always been a pleasure. One of the things that we've been working on is that I've been in community work for a long time as a nonprofit professional for the last 25 years, owning my own business, having employees depend on me to be able to make sure that they have their monthly check. That's a huge responsibility. That's a responsibility that I carry and I carry into this work. I have the proven board experience and been doing the county work through JPS and making sure I had to change my job 3 times in order to accommodate schedules and to make sure that we were there for community. Additionally, this campaign, my campaign, is about 3 C's: competency, clarity, and corazon. Making sure that we are asking the right questions, making sure there's accountability and transparency, and that we're doing this work in the heart of the community. We're after a Republican seat. We're keeping this a Democratic seat. We make history as keeping this a woman-centric seat and keeping that woman's voice on the court. Thank you.
Hey, y'all, let's clap it up for all of our county, for Tarrant County Commissioner Precinct 2. And now we move to this side of the table, or this side of the room. Okay, so we have one candidate here tonight, Angela Haley Rodriguez Prilliman, and forgive me if I've mispronounced your name.
Oh, you got it right.
All right, I did, okay.
Right.
She's running for U.S. Congress, y'all, District 2.
12.
Excuse me, District 12, I'm sorry. I did see that here, I'm sorry. Day's getting long. All right, so with that, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes to give your opening, and her opponent is not here this evening, so it's just her tonight. So we'll still give you 15 minutes. I got questions for you, and we'll go from there.
Awesome. So, hi. I might just stand up because it's just, I've been sitting for a while. I need to stand up a little bit. So, hi, everyone. My name is Haley Rodriguez Prilliman. Legal name, Angela. A lot of people call me Haley, though. And I am running for Congressional District 12. So, some of you may know that, with the redrawn lines, basically, Congressional District 12 now includes North Side and parts of South Side. So, basically, 35 and West, all the way over to Parker County to Weatherford. So this includes, parts of Aledo, Azle, Saginaw, Benbrook, SD9 that Taylor Remmett just wrote one, that was in our area as well. And so that's Congressional District 12. So you may need to let your family members know that, hey, there's someone who's running and her name is Helly. And what I am here to fight for is for universal health care and universal child care that's not attached to any employer. That will include mental health care and dental and child care, again, moms are struggling, it's like paying another mortgage for childcare right now. And so all of this, universal health care and universal childcare, can be paid for by taxing billionaires. The billionaires right now are the ones who are buying our elections. They're the ones who are also funding a lot of this anti-DEI. And Craig Goldman, who's currently in the seat, competing billionaires are funding his race, same as Paxton and all of it. So Tarrant County, we really need someone who's going to fight for, again, just to be able to survive with these costs. So universal health care, universal child care, paid for by billionaires who are buying our elections. And also, we must abolish ICE. We must prosecute the worst of ICE and change our immigration system for the better. I mean, my dad is from Monterrey, Mexico, and he used to say, he's like, it's not that I didn't have documents, it's that I had lots of documents that said I could work here. And so we really need to reform our immigration system where it doesn't take more than a year to get through. And yeah, just we must get universal health care and child care. Universal health care, that's Medicare for all, whatever you want to call it, but it must be done.
All righty, thank you all. Let's clap it up for her opening. And Helly, here you go. Your first question is on economic uplift. Parts of District 12, such as East Fort Worth and sections of Arlington, have long suffered from underinvestment, higher unemployment, and a lack of high-paying jobs. How would you use your role in Congress to bring economic uplift to these areas? Discuss any plans for federal investment in infrastructure, job training, or apprenticeships, or anything that you feel is relevant to economic uplift in your district.
Yes, so I have experience in this. So I actually worked with two different organizations. One is called the Black Ambition Project that is focused on investing in Black and brown founders, because if I don't know if y'all knew, of all the venture capital dollars that go into startups, only 2% of it goes to Black female, or 0.2% goes to Black female founded companies, 0.2% goes to Latina female-founded companies. It's wild how tiny of investment. So we should be investing in regular people who don't come from assets. So again, I've been in this world where it's always the same types of folks getting capital. So if you're starting a nail salon, or if you're starting a tech business, whatever it is, the SBA should be pumping money into regular people who don't come from assets. It's the same rich folks who are always getting to start businesses. And also, we're also offering all these tax breaks to these people, like these AI development and these data center companies who are just sucking our energy, taking all of our water, all of that. And so, like, we need to be instead investing in our own people. Investing in our own people, and also just raising the minimum wage. That's just basic. It should be at least $20 an hour. It should vary based on where you live. But just, yeah, it's nuts how much we don't invest in our own people. The SBA needs to be overhauled too.
All right, here's our next question. It's about education. Arlington and Fort Worth schools serve an increasingly diverse student body, including many low-income students, and they face challenges from the pandemic, such as learning loss to teacher shortages. What steps would you take at the federal level to support our local public schools? For instance, securing funding for early childhood education, STEM programs, or school infrastructure. What are things that you could do to close these achievement gaps?
Well, a lot of these achievement gaps happen because we haven't been funding our schools in Texas. It's been held up by our leaders in the Capitol because of the vouchers. Like, what's disgusting to me is that when Fort Worth ISD, has these TEA people who show up and then just gripe at the teachers and just shame them for doing so terrible. And it's like, y'all been holding up funding for decades. And now you want to blame the teachers and the community members? Get out of here. Get out of here. I'm sorry. And honestly, even property taxes funding our schools is BS. We have people who are literally cannot afford, someone who has disability. They can't pay their property tax. It's ridiculous. And also, the rich areas get more funding. It's ridiculous. So honestly, the Department of Education, what they're doing to it is trash. I mean, obviously it needs to be overhauled in general, because a lot of our stuff that we're even teaching in our schools these days is from like, oh, hey, when we were trying to go to the moon, right? We need to have actual, statistics and other things taught in schools. Again, like you said, STEM for all backgrounds and encouraging people to be in those fields. And so yes, teachers should be getting paid at least $100K a year, period. I don't understand why that's not the case. And we could be, again, taxing billionaires. There are 300 billionaires in this country who have more money than they will ever spend.
Thank you. Last question, Angela or Helly. Voting rights. Texas's redistricting and election laws have been criticized for diluting minority voting power and making voting harder. Do you support passing strong federal voting rights protections, such as restoring pre-clearance review in Texas election changes? And how will you work to ensure that every voter in places like Tarrant County has equal access to the ballot box?
So John Lewis Voting Rights Act, obviously that must be passed, but we need to get money out of politics. The Citizens United crap, like right now, billionaires just get to... Elon Musk put $290 million in the election last time. He's about to put more. And again, they must be taxed. I don't know what else to say about that. What was the other part of the question?
Just generally speaking, how do you support? You mentioned. Do you support passing strong?
Oh yes, the voting thing. That was what it was. Okay. Also, I lived in California for 10 years doing tech startup stuff. Okay, it blew my mind that you get sent in the mail a whole packet of information about every candidate that's on your ballot. Literally, every candidate can put a little picture, a little 2-sentence blurb about what they care about, and their website. And it's sent to you, everybody, in the mail. So you can look at it months in advance. Like, we don't have basic stuff here. They don't want us voting. So again, if we could not only make it where our elections are publicly funded, and getting it where everyone knows when to vote and who's on your ballot, that would make the biggest difference too.
Well, Helly, that was your final question. Now the floor is yours for 1 minute as a closing statement.
Okay, 1 minute closing statement. I'm gonna go through a handful of things, but maybe I should just go with stories. First, I have a friend just recently, went to college with her. Her baby was developing without a skull, and the doctors here wouldn't help her. And she was given a phone number. She had to fly out of state. Again, this is a baby that's wanted, right? She gets there, complications. She already got fluid and stuff in her, gets that taken care of out of state, comes back home because she got to work. Like most of us women, we got to work. Comes back home, she almost bleeds out in a bathroom in Houston at work. So, it is so important that we have women in office who can speak to these things, and also women who can speak to the child. Again, they're forcing us to be having kids without helping childcare. So yeah, make sure to let people know, vote Helly March 3rd in Congressional District 12 to have someone who's gonna fight for them, okay?
All right,
Thanks,
y'all,
Jacob.
let's clap it up for Helly. All right, and so now we'll move on to our next U.S. Congress race. That's District number 30. And we have two candidates here with us this evening, y'all, Rodney LaBruce and Barbara Mallory Caraway. We're gonna get started with 2 minutes, and we're gonna let ladies go first. All right, so Barbara, the 2 minutes are yours.
Thank you, and thank you for being here tonight to see how our democracy, what's left of it, works. I'm Barbara Mallory Caraway, and I'm running for Congressional District 30. This is not my first run at this. I would hope that my mere candidacy shows that I am committed. I am also the only candidate in this race with legislative experience, so I can hit the ground running. I served 6 years in the Texas legislature, and I happen to have served a couple of those years with Mr. Turner, as well as on the Dallas City Council, so I understand how all levels of government work, even on the federal level, because we had to go as a city council member to lobby on behalf of initiatives that were important to our cities. We are living in a time where people are fearful of their livelihood, fearful of their families, fearful of where we go now. But I am not fearful. I am hopeful, and I would not allow fear to drive my actions. We have a person in the White House has no regard to law or our Constitution, and I will take my oath to the Constitution, not to individuals. And so as we move forward on March the 3rd, I'm asking for your vote to vote for experience. I will advocate for education, for health care. I will also advocate to make sure that we do raise the minimum wage, because at the federal level, it is $7.25. And I always use the example to say that when I take my nephew Aiden to McDonald's, I can't even work an hour at McDonald's to pay for his meal because it's over almost $9. So we must move forward to make sure that everyone is represented, everyone is heard in this democracy. And we must fight to save our democracy and make sure that we will survive. We will get over this. We will survive.
Good. Rodney, the 2 minutes are yours, sir.
Thank you, and good evening, and thank you to the organizers of this event for allowing space for us tonight. And I feel like old friends here. We've been through a couple of things together, and I feel like we've known each other forever. But I started running this race in 2024 in August, and along the way, I've met a lot of good people, and I've been offered a lot of good, encouraging words. A lot of the times they've come up to me and asked me why I'd run, and sometimes they'd even say that, called me crazy, among other things. And I understand where they're coming from, because when I go on to tell them that my vision for District 30 is to end poverty, not talk about it, not manage it, but end poverty in the district, making District 30 a model for every other district in the nation to follow, so that we are self-reliant, not depending on any federal dollars, even though we will go after every cent that's owed to us. They look at me again and call me crazy even more. And they say that that's impossible, and they say that why even bother? But I didn't get into this race because I thought things might be easy. I got into it because it's the right thing to do. And doing things right is going to always cost you. And it's going to cost us to set things right. It's going to cost us time. It's going to cost all of us effort. But one thing that I can offer to the district is my integrity above everything else, and my commitment as well to do exactly what I'm telling you that I'm going to do. Make District 30 ending poverty, not managing it, making it a model for every other district to follow, and thereby doing what I said I would do.
Very good. Hey, let's clap it up for them, y'all, in their opening statements. All righty, let's move into now the Q&A portion. And so you have 1 minute to reply, and we'll go with whoever wants to go first with answering. First question here is on policing and justice reform. District 30 has endured tragic police shootings from Dallas to Arlington that underscored the need for reform. Do you support federal legislation like the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act to increase accountability? And what else would you push for ensuring fair policing to rebuild community trust while keeping the public safe?
I'll go first. Thank you. Yes, I do support it, and I support any effort that goes along with accountability. Because whenever you have people in power, that A word seems to get lost in the dust. So we need accountability. And one thing that you look at in our communities, and like I said, that I'm running to end poverty, and you look at poverty being a problem, in certain areas of the community. And those areas of the community are often looked at in a certain way. Those are the ones that's going to receive the most attention when it comes to drugs and SWAT teams coming out and these things like this. So I want to make sure that there's accountability on every level to make sure that when a drug bust happen, they don't just happen in these communities. They happen when in other communities as well, where drugs are also being sold.
Barbara, 1 minute is yours.
Thank you. I do support the George Floyd Act, but also we must realize that a lot of policing is the responsibility of the local police department. And so we have to, but we do, the federal government does send money here to local governments to enhance their opportunities. So I can't just say that I'm going to not support to take away state rights, because that's what we're dealing with now with our president trying to nationalize our elections and all of that. So we have to look at how we can do that, but more importantly even, when we look at, I think, programs, we used to talk a lot about our youth programs, how we can keep them off the streets, how we can make sure that our neighborhoods are safe, programs through community development block grant dollars, enhancing police, and so that is what I would support as well, to make sure that I will support federal dollars. I'm not going to say I'm not going to, because Texas used to do that. They used to say, we don't want federal dollars, especially in Dallas, and then they were sent other places. And that's what we're fighting now, a president whose retribution is because they won't name an airport or a gateway after him, taking away federal dollars. So I do support that.
Can I clarify?
You got 30 seconds.
I did not say that I would not get federal dollars. I said that District 30 would be self-reliant, and then we would still go after every cent that's owed to us. But like we have a person in office now, we don't want to be held to the whims of anybody in office. We will go after federal dollars. However, we will achieve a community that's self-reliant.
All righty, very good. Thank you for the clarification. Our next question is on health disparities. In Dallas, just a few miles difference can mean a 20-year difference in life expectancy. For example, residents of Uptown live to be around 90 years old, while in South Dallas, it's about 68. What federal policies would you champion to tackle such stark health disparities in the district? Consider areas like expanding healthcare coverage, increasing support for community clinics, maternal health, or other topics. How would you expand or close the gap in health disparities in your district? Whoever wants to go first. Barbara, are you ready to go?
Well, we do have to look at the Affordable Care Act and how we can, and they're working to expand those subsidies. But health care does make a difference, not only in prevention, which you can put in policies. I know people don't like to talk about Michelle Obama, but she really did try to institute, and while she was a First Lady, put in place for our schools to have healthier eating habits. And so we have to have a holistic approach to health care. Not only do we have prevention, have affordable, quality health care, but making sure that we have a diet and that we are educated about what food does to our bodies. We have to have accessibility to those places who are in our communities, the healthcare facilities in our communities, but making sure that we have a holistic approach to living and the disparities of housing, transportation, and urban living environment.
Rodney, sir?
Yeah, thank you very much. We do have to make sure that we have quality clinics in every possible region. We don't want to have to make someone drive or ride the bus for hours to find quality health care. So we need to increase funding for more quality and quantity as it relates to clinics. Now, also, two words that I love, guaranteed and universal. We need to make sure that we have universal health care for all. And someone asked me, how will we pay for it? The money is there, just write the check. We pay for subsidies for billionaires and wealthy individuals. We have the funds to pay for any and everything that we need to pay for. Modern monetary theory suggests that when it comes to things of that sort, you don't have to worry about taxes and things like that. When you invest in people, production increases and inflation stays intact and people get what they need.
Very good. Our last question for you all relates to economic opportunity. And despite overall growth in DFW, pockets of District 30 remain mired in poverty and lack of access as well as good jobs. What is your plan to spur economic development in historically neglected communities? How would you support, or would you support raising the federal minimum wage, expanding federal programs for small business loans, or other possibilities to enhance economic opportunity?
I don't want just to expand loans. I want to give grants and opportunities for businesses to expand. And unfortunately, I'm going to call out the state, our state representatives, because I read that they're not even certifying minority-owned businesses except for for veterans. Am I correct about that, Mr. Turner and Mr. The comptroller is, and so that really is glaring and alarming. But what District 30, and this is going to be off the script a little bit because it answered that question. Because of the gerrymandering, we now have 8 cities in Congressional District 30. Arlington, the new part of Arlington is 200,000 people. That is almost as large as the area that I grew up in, Amarillo, Texas, which is a little over 200,000 people. So we have to have, what I'm going to do is to appoint a committee to help me deal with these issues because the district is so vast. You have Dallas, you have Cedar Hill, Duncanville, DeSoto, Grand Prairie, Arlington, Glen Heights, and as well as Lancaster. So I'm going to work to make sure that I can approach those in dealing with all entities of the district.
Rodney, sir.
Yeah, like I said, I 2 words I love, guaranteed and universal. We, from a federal level, can provide guaranteed job program so that anyone who wants to work can work. When it comes to the minimum wage, I'm not looking for a particular number. I just wanted to raise it and not keep it fixed, but tie it to inflation so that anytime the numbers there go up, your paycheck can go up as well. And another thing that we need to look at as a community is HR 40. It's on the record, but it's not really being pushed. We can't really look at the issues of the current and the future until we take care of the issues of the past. So what I'm looking for is to really push in reparations and make sure that when it comes to that gets taken care of. It's not about handouts or anything free. It's about paying a debt.
Very good. Thank you all. So now we move into the closing statement, closing portion of your discussion. Rodney, you get to lead us off. You have 1 minute, sir, to make your closing argument.
Thank you very much. And again, I appreciate the time. It's real simple. When I look at government and the responsibility of a United States representative, our responsibility is, one, to make sure that the people are safe, whether against foreign or domestic threat. To make sure that things are equitable, people are treated equally and have equal access to opportunity. And finally, the job of a House of Representative member is to make sure that we do bring federal funds back down to the people we represent. It's very simple. We've overcomplicated things. Universal whatever is possible, guaranteed whatever is possible. The funding is there when we finally decide to take care of our people instead of giving subsidies to wealthy individuals. And please look me up on LaBruceForCongress.com. Everything you need to know is there. And reach out to me. My cell phone is 214-228-2640.
Very good, sir. Barbara?
I am and always will be a public servant, and I am running for Congress to be the voice and the advocate for the people that I hope will send me to Washington. We are living in some perilous times, and you need someone who understands how the system works, someone who can represent the whole district from South Dallas all the way to Arlington, Grand Prairie. You need someone who is not afraid, someone who will stand up and fight for you. I am consistent about running for this position, consistent about wanting to represent you. So I'm asking for you to send someone who has the only person in this race who has legislative experience, who can hit the ground running, who can be your voice, who can make sure that you will never be forgotten. I am Barbara Mallory Caraway for Congress. You can go to barbaraforcongress.com. Thank you, and may God forever stand.
All good, all good. Hey, let's clap it up for everybody, y'all. Damon, I know we have one more discussion left, which is on Tarrant County Judge. Do we know Elisa's timetable? Do we know if she's still going to be able to make it this evening? All right, so we'll give her a few more minutes to see. There's one thing that I know we can do in the meantime, and that is what we always do at this event, is we give folks who are running for office, I'm looking at you, Brooklyn, over there, folks who are running for office who are not on the panel discussion an opportunity to announce their candidacy. Oh, I see a number of y'all over there. The lights are in my eyes. Yeah, Tiffany's over there. Okay, very good, very good. So, so what we will do now is give you all the floor and give you all a chance to, you know what, Elisa not here, I'm gonna give you 2 minutes. All right, go on and do your thing. Tell us what you're running for and introduce yourselves to the public, y'all. Tiffany.
Yes, good evening. Can everyone, okay, good evening.
Can y'all time this? Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tiffany Burks. Thank you, NAACP, for the opportunity to, again, share space with all of you. I am running for the office of Tarrant County Criminal District Attorney, and I am running for that office because I truly believe we no longer have to choose between safety and justice. We can have both. And I say that because a lot of times in this climate, we hear a lot about public safety and keeping our community safe. And while those things are very important because we all want to live in safe communities and keep our children safe, we also have to make sure that we are in a justice system that is actually doing justice for the community. I'll tell you that the district attorney is the only attorney in Texas whose duties are actually codified in the Code of Criminal Procedure. And it says specifically that a district attorney's role is not just to convict, but to see that justice is done. And so I want to make sure that the district attorney's office here in Tarrant County does just that. So how do we do that? We do that in a couple of ways. Number one, I want to create a district attorney's office that's no longer just reactive. I don't want the DA's office to only work when people come into our system. There's certainly a place to make sure that people are held accountable for their conduct, but I also want to create a district attorney's office that is preventive as well, that we put some preventive measures in place. And one of the things that I've talked about a lot on the campaign trail is having the first ever diversion unit within the DA's office. You know, one of my platform pieces discusses issues that bring people within the criminal justice system, whether it's mental health issues or addiction. We need to make sure that we find pathways for people so that they can heal and so that they don't come back into our criminal justice system. And if there are people who we can rehabilitate in that way, why wouldn't we want to do that, okay? And so that's something that's very important to me. Thank you all so much for the time. TiffanyBurksForDA.com. You can read more about my campaign.
All right, y'all, let's clap it up for Tiffany.
Table. Hold on. All right, thank you. My name's Gregory Lewis. I'm running for county clerk for Tarrant County. I want to thank you guys all for being here. A couple of things that I'm running on, 3 primary pillars. I call it the AAA. First is accessibility. Second is anti-discrimination. And the third is accountability. Okay. Now, as far as accessibility, anyone that's ever been to the county clerk's office, you know that they ask for your driver's license, your date of birth, your address, your zodiac sign, your blood type, your firstborn child. They ask a whole bunch of information that's unnecessary. I believe that the county clerk's office for public information, it should be like a library. You go in, you get what you need, you go home. Okay? There shouldn't be all this tracking of information to try to discourage people from getting the information that they want and need. Okay? Anti-discrimination. I'm not the county clerk yet. I expect to be because I know you guys are all going to vote for me. But I have visited every county clerk's office here in Tarrant County, and I found 3 instances that I would consider discriminatory. Now, they don't know it yet because they don't know me, but I keep notes, okay? So once I'm the county clerk, those are the first 3 things I'm going to address with those agents, okay? Now, as far as accountability, one of the things that I firmly believe in is that I can't stand dishonesty in politics. So as the county clerk, I want to mirror a site that's going to let you know what every elected official, what they said, and what they actually voted for in the legislature, okay? Now, I think that's important so that you'll know not what they told you, but what they showed you, okay? Now, clarity is something else that I like to bring to the office. Like, we've all seen House bills propositions, bonds, and sometimes when you vote yes, it means you're voting against it. Sometimes you vote no, you're voting for it. Well, I want to mirror that as well and have it nice, clean, concise, easy language so you'll know exactly what you're voting for and who you're voting for. Gregory Lewis, and I want to be your county clerk. Thank you.
I have to go all the way to the table. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ebony Turner. I'm running to be the next state representative for Texas House District 96. So House District 96 covers a little bit of Mansfield, a little bit of Arlington, a little bit of Burleson, a little bit of Fort Worth, and all of Kennedale. So that's the easiest way to say it. You just have to look it up because it's, they drew the lines real crazy back in 2021. We know something about redistricting crazy lines around here. So you just have to look it up. So I'm running, as most of you know, if you've ever heard me speak, my catalyst for running was my son, Isaiah. He has special needs. I've been, advocating for him at the school district level for many years. And I was asking for a para, asking for different resources. And I was always told that I need to, there's no money. And so they said I needed to go to the legislature and go where the money is. So that's what started me on my journey to run for state representative. And then I decided I wasn't going to. And then David Cook, who was the incumbent, voted for vouchers. And I said, yep, I got to run. So I ran in 2024 for the first time. And, he won. And now he's moving on to run for the Senate. And so it's an open seat. So I'm back running again. And I am the most experienced person in this race. I have been a former legislative attorney. I've been a former legislative intern for House District 27. I'm a current, practicing attorney now. I've been an adjunct professor teaching criminal law and constitutional law, and I'm a community advocate and a leader. I am ready on day one. I don't have to figure out where my office is or where the Capitol is or how to get to the floor. I already know that, so I will be ready. And like I said, I am the more qualified candidate in this race. And so I'm running on, my slogan is it's not political, it's personal. And so fully funding public education is number one. We need to repeal that voucher bill, full stop. We don't need to make it better, we need to repeal it. It needs to go. Thank you so much. I'm Ebony Turner, www.ebforhd96.com.
Good evening. My name is Brooklyn Richardson. I currently serve on the Arlington ISD School Board. I know I'm a little bit short, but can you see me? No? Okay, just making sure. I currently have served for the past 3 years in Arlington. In Arlington, we are at large. That means we represent every single student and family. I knew 3 years ago I liked this. I thought I wanted it. The difference is now I know I want this. I have had 3 years, and I'll tell you, it takes you 3 years to figure it out. School finance is complicated. Sorry, Chris, you guys have made it really hard to be in school finance right now. However, we have really good people like Representative Turner who have helped us out. He has made big things happen for us. But right now, we are in one of the hardest places ever. We have TEA breathing down our necks, wanting to take control of our schools. It has taken us everything we can do to fight for our students and our stakeholders because we know what we can do best for our community is us, not someone who lives somewhere else making decisions for our family and students. I believe politics do not belong in our classrooms. Sadly, I do have an opponent currently who does play a partisan race. I don't want that anywhere near us. Here's what our kids need to know. They need to know how to read, how to write, how to be a good human, and to believe in themselves. What they don't care is if you are red, blue, purple, or green. They might care if you have a dog or a cat, but they don't care about anything else. I want to make sure our kids get to focus on that. I want to make sure our teachers get to focus on that. And I want to make sure that I keep being the voice that is able to keep politics out of our classroom.
Hello, everybody. I am Deion Sims. I am candidate for Texas 25, which was redrawn, redistricted, and busted up Mark VC's 33. in Tarrant County. And so my goal in running for Congress is to be the voice to continue to represent our area in Washington. Now, my goal is to make sure that our rights and our freedoms are maintained. Right now, what we have is an incumbent that is laying down with all the other GOP and allowing the third part of our government to run amok and not protecting the rights of the people that he's supposed to represent. Our representation, as our candidates for 30 have talked about, is supposed to be making sure that we have universal health care, that everybody can be covered, whether you have pre-existing conditions or not. We need to have living wage. People need to be able to afford to live in Texas 25 and not worry about whether they, can buy their medicine or whether they can, buy their groceries, pay their rent. Costs are too high, and they're being driven even higher because of what's happening in Washington. The third thing that we need to do is to bring development to Texas. One of the things that we need to make sure happens in Texas 25 is that even though we've got a rural, they gerrymandered it, it's weird. I've got a rural area and I've got a really good suburban area, but we've got to bring focus to jobs. People need to be able to have an ability to live and have protection. We got to get ICE under control. We understand that there's an immigration problem, totally understand it, but we definitely have to make sure that it's human and humane in how we deal with people. We got to bring humanity back to our government, and so I am Dion Sims, candidate for 25, DionSimsForCongress.com.
And last but not least, there is me. Yes, it is. There is me. I'm Dr. Jason Shelton. I am a professor at UT Arlington in the sociology department, been there for 18 years, director of the Center for African American Studies, and have actually sat up here moderating these bad boys for the last 8 years. And at some point it occurred to me, I should be up here doing this too and running for office, all right? So, I'm running for Arlington City Council, representing District 8. Put your hand in the air if you live in Arlington. I'm on your ballot. Okay? I'm running at large in this great city, okay? What qualifies me to run is not the fact that I'm an academic, or that it does help a bit. I do understand data, I do understand arguments, I understand analysis. But all that led Dr. Barbara Odom Wesley to ask me and Mayor Williams several years ago to chair the Arlington Unity Council, which is essentially our city's diversity task force. I did it for 5 years. And over those 5 years, there were more than 50 of us that served on the committee, and we had more than 80 recommendations to improve a wide range of things about the quality of life in this city, from transportation to health and wellness to business to the Arlington Police Department, to a whole host of things. One of the things that I'm most proud of, though, is the fact that everybody who served on our committee signed off on each and every one of those reports. Now, that was my past leadership. Where do we go to the present? You heard Gabe say something a few minutes ago. I clearly make the argument that Arlington is a big city, y'all. This is not a suburban stop-off between Dallas and Fort Worth. This is a big city. We are the number 47th largest city in the United States of America. I grew up in LA. I went to graduate school in Miami. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I know what a big city is, and I know we are a big city because we got big city problems. We got big city problems related to housing. We got big city problems related to homelessness. We got big city problems related to a number of different things. I want to be the voice that, if you put it there in city council, speaks up and addresses the fact that we're not a suburb, that we've got to make big decisions. You got to roll the dice and be smart about understanding the data, using logic, and talking to people to make sure that this city can become all that it can be. Arlington has been fantastic for my wife and I. I cannot believe that my kids are native Texans, but the reality of it is this place has been great, and I want to make sure that it's great for everybody. My frat brother is telling me my 2 minutes are up, so I'm going to shut up and sit down. Shelton for Arlington, you can go to sheltonforarlington.com, and if you need, BB, if you need that yard sign that I know you want in your front yard for Shelton for Arlington, it's out in the car, okay? So whoever else, Lynn, I see you out there, and I know you already got one. I got a few in my car. If you need one, I'd love for you to have one. Thank you. Oh, the election is in May. Thank you, Barbara. The election is in May, so I'm after all these folks. All right. That being said, is Elisa, have we heard from Elisa? She's not going to make it, so I'm handing you the floor, sir, to say thanks for coming out. God bless and good night.
Okay, we'll be good. Okay, I want to thank everybody for coming out, especially our candidates, the ones in the audience who came up to introduce themselves, and the ones on our esteemed panel, because I know you had other commitments you had to, and some of you traveled a long way. We appreciate you coming here, and hopefully this will give you the exposure that you need so that our community can make informed choices when they go to vote. I want to remind everybody that the primary is going to be March 3rd. Early voting starts next week on the 17th. So if you're not registered to vote, we do have someone here to do voter registration. John, if you'll just raise your hand. And I'm not sure if you brought the mail out. If you have family members who need to register, he can get you some information to take home to the people who needs to register to vote. And with that said, I'm going to turn it into the hands of our president for his closing remarks.
All right. Once again, let's give it up to all of our candidates and our great moderator, Dr. Jason Shelton, for doing this for us. Thank you very much for doing this. Just want to say that having run for office last spring, it's not easy. It's tough. You're in the spotlight. People are going all through your business and digging through your personal affairs and talking about your mama, your dog, and everybody else. But these people, these candidates have stepped up to the challenge because they care. And with them caring, there's going to be some winners and some losers coming out of the primary. Primary early voting starts, give me the dates, Damon. February 17th starts early voting, and it lasts through the 27th. That means you can go anywhere in Tarrant County where there is a early voting location, and you can vote for your primary candidate of choice. And I encourage you to do just that, okay? And election day is going to be March 3rd. Oh, I'm all over the place. I didn't know it was February. Okay, but March 3rd, and that will select your primary candidate. One thing I'm going to encourage everybody, if your candidate of choice does not win, okay, that happens, okay? One thing I don't want us to do is to take your ball and go home. Okay, you still need to show up and vote come the final election for the municipals and in November. We need you to come out and vote because your vote matters. No vote, I'm going to tell you, like my 8-year-olds would say, you get what you get and you can't throw a fit. All right, so you want to make sure your voice is heard, and if your candidate doesn't win, sit back, adjust, absorb it, mourn, do what you got to do, but come back out and vote afterwards because we need all people to the table. We need people to vote because we need good candidates like these people who are up here on the stage. We need people like this to represent us and hear us and make sure that we get things done here in Texas. So I want to thank everybody for coming out. Thank you, candidates, for even running, stepping up. And one thing I'll say, because they won't say it, once the primaries are over and you got your candidate of choice, these folks need funding. Campaigns don't run themselves. A campaign sign costs, these yard signs that you're getting and you're putting up there, it costs about $8 to $10 each. So please help your candidate. Donate. If you can't donate money, donate your time because that's how we get folks elected because it takes energy and effort and a lot of sweat equity. So, help get good people in the office. So I say all that to say thank you for coming out. Appreciate your attendance. Folks online, thank you for tuning in. And if you watch it later, please pass it on to anybody who may be voting in any of these races because it's very important and they need to know what the candidates are saying. Thank you and good night, everybody. Oh, and we want to get pictures. Don't move too fast because I'll get yelled at. Thank you. I don't want you to get yelled at, man.
Yeah, I know, right? I know. I don't want Stephanie yelling at me. I don't think so. No, no, no. You're all right. I love your personality.
Okay, don't stand on top of each other. Okay, I need some folks on this side, please.
I'll move before we get yelled at.
Hey, y'all come on this side too.
We need some people over here. We like, how many? How many need over here? 2? Stephanie, how many people over here?
Okay.
Come on in, Daniel. Where you
All
at?
right.
All right, balance us out.
Ebony, you need to come this side? Come stand in front of Junior. That works. That works.
Sure, folks, balance it out.
Move it up. Move it up.
All right, this side, I need y'all spread out just a little.
Two other people in my list.
Okay, I think we're good now. All right, Damon, step up. Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, and 3, and again, and again, and again. And I'm gonna take a few more because that's what I do. Stop moving, be still. Thank you. Hold it, just be real still, don't move. Okay, I'm gonna do a couple more. Stop moving, Brooke. It's crazy how I know all y'all's names now. Okay, so hold on, stay right there. NAACP members, come on stage real quick, please. Hurry, just get on the side. Come on, guys. NAACP members, come on. Hurry. I need somebody to find 2. Okay, everybody stay where you were. If you were in a spot, stay in your spot. Okay, Jared, I can't see you anymore. Oh, okay. No, don't do that. Okay, tell you what, Jason, take a half a step back. There, that works for me. Okay. All right, and okay, Brother Carey, come up this side, all the way on the end. For me, you're right in there. That's fine. Okay. Okay, that looks good enough. Okay, Lisa, step over just a little. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, and 3. Y'all have to be real still because I gotta take several shots here. Because I'm gonna have to do I'm gonna do a wide shot. All right, that's pretty good. Thank you, guys.
All right, everybody, please. Let's please be respectful of the staff at the church's time. We got to get on out of here, y'all. Man, this is good. I will. You know what? Sometimes you get tired of it. Yeah, I ain't working now.
How you doing?